What is up, everyone? Welcome to Reality Room Spoilers with Paul, bringing you the latest on Big Brother 19 Live Feeds. Okay, so a lot has happened in the Big Brother 19 house. Of course, feeds were down for most of the day today, but when the feeds were on, a lot was going on, and that's what I'm going to tell you about today. So let's start first with before the feeds went down. I want to talk about a conversation that Josh had with Christmas. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this already, but Josh was talking about it was early in the morning, maybe like 8 or 9 a.m., right before the temptation competition. And Josh and Christmas are talking, and Josh is basically suggesting to Christmas, listen, I potentially want to get Elena out this week instead of Jessica. And Christmas was basically saying to Josh, I mean, you can do that, sure. That's an idea. The only way she thinks that would happen is if neither Cody or Jess are on the block. And Christmas is basically suggesting to Josh, hey, let's wait until this temptation competition. Let's wait until this veto competition. Talk a little more. Also, during this same conversation, Christmas is also saying that she's not like 100% with Paul. Josh is like, oh, he's playing us, and Christmas is like, yeah, but we're playing him too. So people are starting to realize that that Paul's looking like to be a big threat as well. So things are looking pretty good on that front for people going against Paul finally. But yeah, Josh's target looks to be like it's going to be Elena this week. Whether or not he can achieve that remains to be seen. But first, let's jump into this temptation competition, which left the feeds off for like 9-10 hours almost today. So basically, from what I heard about this temptation competition, I believe every single person in the house that could played in it, which is pretty incredible. I don't know too much about it. I know that it was a timed competition, and I know it's a timed competition only because Josh said that he was looking at the times at the end, and he just got so pissed off when he realized that Cody won by 6 seconds. So, spoiler alert: Cody has won the temptation competition, and he is safe for the week. Now, on the other hand, the person who got last place in the temptation competition was Jessica. Jessica got last place in this competition, meaning that she's the third nominee on the block. Now, if you guys remember what I said last week about how they could strategize with this temptation competition by having one of them win and the other person getting last so they can't get backdoored and they guaranteed a spot in the veto, that's exactly what they did this week. So Jessica is guaranteed to play in the veto to save herself, and Cody is guaranteed to be safe because he won the temptation competition. So even if Josh was targeting Jessica, they basically had their best case scenario happen with this temptation comp, with one of them being last place and one of them being first place, which is honestly, it's a beautiful thing. It was very well done, and you have to give Cody credit. He really nails it when he has to in this game. But as you all know, the house wanted to target Jessica over Cody anyway, but between the two of them didn't know that at the time. Okay. So let's jump into after the temptation competition, which ended up only being a few hours ago. So when Josh was talking to Christmas, he seemed to suggest that he didn't want to tell anybody about this plan to get Elena out, which is interesting because he then goes on to suggest to Paul about this plan. So, and he's told a couple of other people too, and he's like, oh, but I'm only telling you. So Josh has like a lot of people that he's only telling about this getting Elena out strategy. So yeah, so he talks to Paul, and Paul is basically, this whole conversation is trying to talk him out of it. He's like, listen, no, Josh, this isn't a good idea. Jess and Cody are definitely coming after you. We have Elena. I know she's neutral right now, but once we go to Jessica, she's guaranteed to be with us. Paul was bringing up that if Jessica and Cody are in the jury, there's no way they'll ever be voting for you, Josh. I mean, it's just Paul like defending Elena, because Paul really wants Jessica gone this week, because he knows that if Jessica wins HOH, that his ass is going on the block, and he knows that for sure. So right after this conversation, like we're not too sure where Josh's head is at, like right after this conversation, but he tells us where his head is at. So this is the one time I actually appreciate Josh talking to the camera. And remember early in the game, everyone was like making fun of Josh for talking to the camera, like to his family or whatever. Now he's talking to the camera about fucking game talk, and I very much appreciate it. And he did the same thing when he was on the block a week and a half ago when Jessica put him up. So I appreciate these little game talks that Josh has been having. But basically, he's just been saying, hey, look, I still want Elena out. So he's just talking to the feeds about, yeah, I still want Elena out for this reason, for that reason. He says that she's shady. She's playing the middle. She was disloyal to Mark. She was disloyal to Cody and Jessica. She's likely going to be disloyal to us at some point. And he says that at least Jessica and Cody, we know where they stand. We know that they are definitely against us. With Elena, we don't know where she stands. She stands with basically everyone in the house. And that's basically his argument. Whether or not that's a good argument or bad argument, it's not really for me to say. Let me know down below if you think Josh's argument for getting Elena out is good or bad. Try to keep it on a game perspective. Like, I know a lot of you might support a lot of you might be Cody and Jessica fans. A lot of you might be Paul fans. Just keep it on a pure game level. Do you think it's a good game move to get Elena out this week and possibly cut a deal with Jessica and Cody? Let me know down below what you think. Okay, so basically what happens is Paul brings up Mark because along with putting Elena on the block, Josh also wants to put Mark on the block as a pawn. So at this point, Paul is just thinking that Elena and Mark are pawns, so he's just bringing them both upstairs. So he brings up Mark, and he's basically like, "Hey, Mark, listen, I'm putting you up as a pawn this week. My original target was Cody, but I obviously cannot get him out. His original target was Jessica, and now his actual target is Elena. So he's just lying to Mark, obviously, because I mean, they're in a pseudo showmance, not really a showmance anymore, but a sort of post-showmance friendship. I don't know what the hell Elena and Mark are anymore, but they still work with each other, I guess, sometimes when Elena's not blaming him for shit. All right, but anyway, so Josh and Mark were talking, and he's just like, yeah, Mark, you're going to be a pawn this week. You know, I'm going to say some shit during the nomination ceremony. I'm going to call you a meatball or something. You know, it is what it is. I'm just joking around. You know how it is. Mark's like, okay, I understand. That's it. So Mark very simply just said, okay, I understand. So he goes down. He goes back downstairs. Josh talks to the feed a little bit more about how he's like, I still want Elena out. Then Elena comes up because Paul sends her up too. And let's see. I want to get this conversation exactly right. So Josh tells Elena, listen, I want to put you up as a pawn this week because you're a strong competitor. And he mentioned that to Mark as well. He said, you're a strong competitor, Elena, and I want you to be on the block this week to fight for the veto so we can send Jessica home. And Elena was acting really, really sketchy during this conversation. Now, Elena shouldn't really be thinking that she's the target right now. Elena should be thinking that Jessica's the target. So she doesn't think that she's a target at all. She's just mad that she's going on the block as a pawn, which, mind you, a lot of players have done already this season. So Elena's basically making the point, listen, it doesn't really make sense to put me on the block because as a good competitor, because mathematically speaking and logically speaking, there are other house guests who are better competitors than me, who have a better shot at the veto. And she was like, well, why don't you put one of them on the block? And Josh is just like, well, like, who do you mean? And Elena's just like, oh, Alex and, you know, some other people. I'm not sure if she actually names names because I actually cut the feeds off a little bit, so I had to go on the Big Brother After Dark. But I know she says Alex's name, and I'm pretty sure she says Paul's name too. She's like, yeah, those two really good at competitions. So I think that they should go on the block because they have a better shot of winning veto and preventing Jess from taking herself off than I do because I'm not that great of a competitor. And Josh is like, no, you are a good competitor because you're good physically and you're good mentally. So it's like the double yeah, it's like a twofold or whatever. But Elena still tries to fight back, and Josh actually calls Paul upstairs, and because during the Paul and Josh conversation, Paul was like, "Hey, Josh, I'm gonna tell them downstairs that I volunteered to go up, but you said no." And so, Josh Josh is like, "Oh, all right, sure." So Elena's like bringing that point up. Well, why aren't you putting Paul on the block? Why did you say no to his suggestion of going on the block? Even though Paul has never made that suggestion and will never make that suggestion, actually. But, Elena probably stupidly believes that. and Josh is basically like, well, are you saying that Paul should go on the block? And mind you, this is when Josh called Paul up into the room. So Paul's in the room right now. So Josh is like, hey, listen, so you said you want a stronger competitor up. So who's a stronger competitor? And Elena's like mincing her words because she doesn't want to say that Paul should go on the block or Alex should go on the block in front of Paul because, that doesn't look good on her. So Elena's just being very, very shady in front of the two of them. And yeah, it was just an interesting conversation. And Paul got to see more of Elena's shadiness, basically, which is what Josh actually wanted her to see. So Josh, I believe, and Josh actually played this very, very well. Like, it looked like he wasn't for a little while, like during this Elena talk, but the second he brought Paul up, I feel like I really felt like it was possible that they might vote out Elena by the end of this week, because Elena really did not do herself any favors during this conversation. She was very disrespectful to Josh. She was talking over him this whole conversation. And mind you, Jessica also later on in a conversation with Josh that I'll get to, she didn't do herself any favors either. But Elena definitely didn't do herself any favors in this conversation as well. So yeah, so her suggesting that stronger competitors should go on the block basically implies that Paul and Alex should go on the block, because those are the only two that have really won competitions other than Cody and Jess, who Cody can't go up and Jess is already on the block. Or maybe Jason. So either way, no one's going to be really happy with those results. So Elena just basically doesn't look good to the other house guests right now. I don't know, but for better or for worse, for Josh's end of possibly getting Elena out, probably good. All right, so let's see. Right, and Josh also talked a little bit about how he wasn't sure if he should put Mark up with Elena, because Josh wasn't sure if Jessica took herself off the block, if Elena would go over Mark. So I don't know. Let me know down below if Jessica took herself off the block at this point. Between Mark and Elena, which one of the two do you think would go? If Josh, the HOH, wants Elena gone, do you think they would vote out Elena, or do you think they would have some different strategy in voting Mark out? Let me know what you think down below. Okay, so let's see. So then feeds cut off again, and we learn that Josh puts up Mark and Elena, just like he told them right before nominations. And then we have some more interesting conversations. Apparently during this meeting, Jessica interrupted Josh during his speech. And I don't know exactly what happened because they don't show nominations on the live feeds. But apparently Josh got a little upset. Well, yeah, I think Josh got a little upset by that. So Josh had like a conversation with Jessica at the nominations. And Jessica was basically like, well, listen, Josh, like, I want to know what kind of mood you're in right now, because when you're in a bad mood, like, it's hell for me. When you're in a good mood, I generally like you. And she was bringing back the stuff during that HOH comp that Jessica originally won a week and a half ago, where how Josh chose her to pour the trash on instead of picking Cody. And she was saying, oh, well, I told you beforehand that my dad died on this very day a few years ago, and you still chose to pour the trash on me. And I don't know, Jessica was not being very good in this conversation. Like, she was clearly antagonizing Josh, and Josh is the HOH, and Jessica's like, oh, well, your goal this week is very clear. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's not very clear. It's not very clear. And Josh is just basically trying to tell Jessica, listen, just come upstairs later and we'll talk. But Jessica's all like, blah, 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 blah. My dad, this HOH competition, blah, 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 blah. You made my week hell, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, no, Jessica, don't do that. It's not good for your game right now. I mean, the same thing with Elena with talking too loud. I mean, they both did not do themselves any favors talking to Josh. They both antagonized him. And Josh just sat there like he didn't go nuts at all. Josh, I was very impressed with Josh's reaction to both of these conversations. Very, very impressed. Josh is just basically like, listen, during this during that HOH competition with you, I chose you strictly as game purposes. I didn't mean any ill intent with you and your father. And Jessica's just like, oh, okay. I don't think she really buys that, but is what it is. All right. So then Josh brings everyone up to the HOH room. Basically, the alliance basically into the HOH room. And they're basically all complimenting Josh on the way he's been acting. Josh tells them all about this Elena conversation. Paul tells them about the Elena conversation. How Elena was a little sketchy during it, and this, that, and the other thing. And they're also saying how Jessica is trying to play like the victim card in the house, trying to get sympathy, and whatever. I mean, it is what it is. All right. So what's more important is after this conversation, and oh my God, Alex has some real fun comments to Josh. So Josh wants to talk to Alex privately. Now we know as viewers that Josh wants to talk to Alex privately because Josh wants to tell Alex, yeah, I want to get Elena home this week. But instead, Jessica basically starts accusing in this private conversation with Josh, she starts accusing Jessica of being like a sexual predator for touching her vagina or something. I don't even know what's going on. Alex has been saying this for like the past few days at this point, and it seems to have only really bothered her ever since Jessica decided not to use the hex. So I don't know if that's a coincidence. And Jessica and Alex was basically saying, well, my cousin was raped and murdered, so I could make Jessica's life a living hell because I don't know what Alex was suggesting at all. Maybe you guys can help like fill me in on this because I don't really understand where her logic is coming from. But anyway, then Jason goes upstairs. Then Jason goes upstairs and they have a talk. Alex, Josh, and Alex, Josh, and Jason. And Josh tells them, listen, I want Elena gone this week. If Elena's still at the block at the end of the week, I want her gone, basically. So that's basically what he was suggesting. Okay, and if you guys hear noise, that's my air conditioner. Video's almost over anyway. Okay, so yeah. So Josh told Alex and Jason that he wants to get Elena out this week. And he was explaining all those reasons. And Alex seemed like she wasn't really for it. But she said that she would do whatever Josh, the HOH, wanted, which makes sense. And Josh was also saying to them how Paul is trustworthy. Ugh. Whatever, Josh. Yeah, Paul, so trustworthy. Sure, whatever. All right, so I'm going to end the video there. Thank you guys for watching. Please like if you enjoy this video. Please dislike if you didn't enjoy the video, and maybe let me know why you didn't enjoy the video. I'm sure you all have some great things to say. Please subscribe down below if you want more future updates. And I said this before, but if any of you guys want to join my feeds chat on the CBS Live Feeds, give me your username down below, and I will invite you. Just a few of us in there right now. So that's basically it. Until next time, guys. Peace.